Welcome back to Sweat, Sauna and Stories, episode 4 already. Where's that time gone? Today I'm bringing you another good guest. All our guests have been amazing because each and every one of them have fit the theme of Sweat, Sauna and Stories, which is they've used exercise, fitness or health as a way to better their life. And today is no different. I've got Thai boxing sensation Joe Craven. You've just seen I'm wearing Crocs. I am a guy that wears Crocs. But enough about me. Let's get in there. Let's meet Joe Craven and let's unpick him to find out what goes on in there when he uses these. Here we are with the man himself, Joe Craven. I'll tell you a little bit about Joe Craven before he tells us about himself. Joe started kickboxing at 4 years old and has been a professional for over 10 years. And although he may look 34, he's only actually 24. He's actually 26, but it'd have been awkward then if not. Joe, tell the people, those who don't know about Thai boxing, a little bit about who you are and where you're from.
Name is Joe Craven from Halifax, 26-year-old, professional Thai boxer, just an all-round idiot.
So, I went and watched Joe this year and we're going to get into all that later. I've never been to Thai boxing, I've never known all about it. It's an absolutely brutal sport if you haven't seen it. The way that they eat each other, kick each other, elbow each other, it's horrendous. Wouldn't you agree?
It's probably the closest thing to like an all-out brawl, but without all the MMA stuff. So it's just literally standing there toe to toe going at it.
So I've got kids, 3 kids, and we can talk about that in a little bit. You've met some of them. We've been out running with them this morning. But I've got a 5-year-old girl, and I could never think of getting her into Thai boxing at that age. And she's actually 6 now. So what got you into Thai boxing at just 4 years old? Because it's very young in it to be going into such a brutal sport.
Do you know what I reckon? I think basically my mum and dad's best mate, their son did it, and it was a case of sending me off. They get a bit of free time, they can go for a coffee with their pals, and I just stuck to it. And yeah, luckily it's taken me wherever I wanted to go.
Well, there's something in there though, like maybe were you an energetic kid where your mum and dad thought, or discipline, were it something that got them thinking, I know they want to go have a bit of fun and maybe have a break from you, but were there something where they
I
thought?
was always like hyper, and see, even at 4-year-old, to be honest, I probably weren't taking training serious. It might have been me just running around hitting a bag or whatever, but it just kept me active. I was always one of them kids all the way through my childhood, doing every single sport possible. Footy, rugby, obviously did Thai boxing, just dabbled with everything. Always like fairly decent at all things as well. I was quite a naturally sporty kid. But yeah, I think it was just literally a case of just getting a bit of time off I went, and then that then followed on with my sisters. My other little sister Sophie, she ended up jumping on it as well, and to be honest, she was naturally better than me.
Yep.
But then discovered going out and getting pissed and stuff like that. And
yeah, like most young people.
Yeah, it all changed, but.
So you talked about a lot of sports you like there. There's one sport I know you don't like, which is weightlifting. So we could have had a bang on pads like I did with Luke Dyson last week. I could have took you for a little bit of circuit, but I've just started backlifting myself. So I thought we'd jump on the weights down here at One Vigor. We'll have a little pump, we'll pick up this conversation and then we'll go do what we always do. We'll get up to that sauna, we'll get deep, because I know you also hate staying in that sauna too long. Because like most people, or not like most people shall I say, a lot of us go to saunas to relax, unwind. Joe has to go there to weight cut, so where we're going to go have a 15-minute dabble in a bit and have a bit of a chat.
Give me PTSD already.
I can imagine. So that's going to be really interesting to delve deeper into how some of that mindset stuff works. So, ready to get after it?
Vamos.
Let's go. So at rugby, the reason why I don't like weights, Joe, is that rugby, from being probably 14, 15, I've always lifted, but I've always actually loved running. Talk me through a typical training week in an off-season before we get into fight prep. Give me a typical training, how it looked in your world.
One of them, I'll always do my pads. So in gym, I'll always be in pads and stuff like that. I'll be honest, previously I hadn't taken S&C as serious.
Yeah.
I've started working with Nathan Bell and now I'm back on with my S&C and stuff like that now. So even on my off season, I'm now pumping a bit of weight. But yeah.
How come you never liked it then?
Do you know what? I just get bored and they hurt.
Yep.
A lot.
So what would a typical week look like when you go to the gym? I know you have a lot of PTs that you deliver yourself, but what's a typical training week look like for you?
So usually I'll run every other day. Just out of standard, obviously, since meeting you as well, I've started to enjoy my running a lot more. Just getting out with Vault boys. I'll always do my pads, so every day, usually Monday to Friday, I'll be eating pads. I'll probably take one day off.
Yep.
And then I'll always get involved with sparring and stuff like that.
Is there a lot of sparring that happens?
Yeah, I love sparring. It's probably the best thing about training.
Yeah. And do you enjoy that more than actually fighting itself?
Yeah.
What's that about?
I just love fighting.
It's like in rugby.
But there's no pressure. It's a weird one. As people would find it weird, like having fun, punching each other in the head.
Yeah.
But it's like a game of chess. Because you got to remember, I'm working with high-level operators, so we're both at that stage where it's like, it doesn't matter whose day it is. You know what I mean? Anyone can have the day. So if we can land on our mates and stuff like that, like it's quite fun. We treat it as a game.
So tell us about some people that you spar, because I know there's some really big hitters at your place, isn't there?
Oh yeah, it's huge.
Is that Badco?
Obviously the most well-known ones, Liam Harrison.
Can you tell me about him, because I'm interested about role models.
8-time world champion. I'll be honest with you, mate, it's just his work ethic more than anything.
Yeah.
Like obviously Liam's knocking on a bit now. He's 39-year-old, still performing to very top level. But he's been like that throughout his whole career.
Yeah.
When he's been injured, always rehabs bang on. Literally constantly working. And plus with Liam, what's good, he gets it on the media side as well, which obviously we've learnt a lot more as well, because he gets the business side of it. He's got his website,
yep,
all that sort of stuff. So I'll be honest, I've learnt a lot off Liam. But then you've also got the likes of Andy, 5 times world champion,
right,
who's a little bit older now, but still work ethic there. Badger, 3 times world champion. Jordan Watson, 2 times world champion. And then my coach is Lisa Smith. She's 2 times world champion. And there's Richard Smith, who's my coach, and he's coached countless amount of world champions. And we're European champion himself. And his sons, both his sons, world champions.
You're a world champion?
Yeah.
How many times world and European champion?
1 times world, 1 times European. But we'll get there.
And what do you think it is about that gym, in terms of values, culture, standards, that make it a gym or a place that is just delivering so many world champions? What is it? Because this stuff I'm interested in for my own.
I think it's a lot. It links back to surrounding yourself with who you want to be. If I'm rubbing shoulders with world champions, realistically, it should rub off on me as well.
Which it clearly has.
I think it's that. It's the pressure of it. It's the pressure of it, because I'll be honest, before I had a world title, I felt like I had the pressure to win one, to be able to fit in.
Yep. Kind
of like an unspoken about club as such in that gym. And I wanted to fit in. But I think you learn a lot off these boys as well, because if I'm seeing their work ethic, I think, actually, I need to be doing that.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And I think that plays a massive part in it. I think just surrounding yourself off them boys, it rubs off on you. And then it's also good as well, because like you say, I get involved with coaching. Seeing the youngsters do it as well, like, I take big pride in, because I coach a lot of kids as well.
Yeah.
Like when they're winning British Opens and going to World Championships, fighting all over the world, like, I take quite a lot of pride through that, just as well, seeing how well they're enjoying it, and you know what I mean, bettering themselves.
100%.
As well, with all them kids who are involved in it, all of them are good kids, respectful, polite, well-mannered, got loads of mates and stuff like that. I do think combat sports is good for teaching you a lot of lessons like that. I like to haven't done too bad myself as well, but you never know.
Good that.
Some people might argue different.
There's something I want to pick up on him with that, but we'll sit down for that bit. What about the toughest session you've done? It was meant to be a little pump, just to get a sauna ready. What they call them, beach weights, don't they? A little bit of a pump on. We've already trained today, haven't we? We've already had our sweat, different to other guests.
Yeah.
We've already had our sweat, and we tell people a little bit about what this morning we're about, because there's lots
Half
of
5 that morning we were out, mate, on the road. Met at 6 o'clock this morning. 10k run, tempo Tuesdays, and it gets a bit spicy, doesn't it? And then obviously a little Aubrey come as well, smashing it out straight lane. So yeah, it were good little mornings, to be fair. But them Tuesday mornings for me, I'll be honest with you, like they set me up for a good day. Them
100%.
Like obviously, when you're rubbing shoulders with freaking like say Johnny Mason, who'll be loving that I've name dropped him here, but he's a big one for me who pushes me, because mate, the guy's an absolute freak of nature, like, and obviously Dan Keane as well.
Lee Tuck.
Absolutely flies, Lee Tuck.
Today, Aaron Holmes.
You know what I mean? Keeping up with them sort of boys.
Andy Suddle is actually the best runner in Group.
Suddle, best runner.
I think
in West Yorkshire.
I've brought that up because obviously we've done a sweat this morning. Is you talked about having a world-class mentality at your gym. We've got that a little bit. That's on a Tuesday, haven't we? Where all these boys and now girls, we go out on a Tuesday. We've actually called it the huntsman, because it's about going out on a Tuesday, hunting, chasing your goals, no matter where you're at, whether you are current world champion. So Lee Tuck, he's up there as an absolute monster of a man. Andy Suddle's chasing people. All these people, Johnny, who you mentioned, and you mentioned 2 former guests there.
Everyone's chasing greatness, aren't they?
And whatever that is to them. So what does greatness look like to you?
Just, I think it's being the best version of yourself. So, for example, with me, it's different because I can do this full time, and I ain't got like a proper 9-to-5 job to worry about. This is why it's easy for me to motivate myself around them sort of boys, because everyone's got to work doing a 9-to-5 job, as well as doing all the training, doing Ironman, doing this, that, other. Like it's easy to motivate yourself when you're around these boys, because you think, hang on a minute, if he's doing it, I should definitely be doing it. So you know what I mean? It's easy to be able to motivate yourself around them. And
there's going to be lots we're going to get into. You mentioned about kids earlier, and I really want to touch on that, because you'll know I'm really passionate about this myself with my own kids. I'm a big believer in not just talking on podcasts or social media, but actually living and dying by that with my kids.
Yeah.
You saw both my kids, 2 of my 3 kids out today on Ogden Cliff. Some would argue probably one of the toughest runs in
Alfie, mate,
in Halifax.
Alfie's absolutely killing it. Like, Alfie's a big one, to be honest. Like, not to circle him, but before maybe weren't the strongest runner. Like, let's say a good year and a half ago, like struggling. I remember that time he got jumped in sauna after, and he's like, oh, I can't breathe. As in now, he's leading pack. Like, you know what I mean? It's seeing how the kids developed. Like today, he's running his second quickest 10k run. But for the first 5k, it's all uphill. And pausing at top, you know what I mean? That's not knocking off his time at all. So, yeah, like Alfie's a big, like, again though, another person there who I can use as motivation, use as fuel. Because, like for example, last week, me and Alfie gets into a little bit of a race, you know what I mean? I'm leading him all the way, and then he picked me at last minute. Yep. So he's taking that win, but now I know I can't let him have that win next week. So today, business resumed. And
there's a reason why I alluded to that. So I want my kids to be around all these elite level people who are all doing these running, these IROXers, fighters, whatever that may be, so they understand how professional we play. There's a lot of standards I put into them, but when it's your own dad, a lot of time you can
don't listen to as much, yeah.
You know, and I'm lucky that they do listen, but it's good for them to see it in action.
Yeah, of course.
And something I've always noticed about you, and we've never spoke about this, is your passion for kids. And that's not in a weird way.
Yeah, don't be saying that. Carefully saying that.
I don't mean that in any weird way. What I mean is like, I see you light up in, and I guess it's something from your own childhood or your own upbringing of having positive role model coaches. But I've just seen it. I see it on your videos. I see it when you talk about it. I see the level above you go to educate and inspire these young people, we'll call them. So there were no banter intended there. It was literally about what is it that makes you want to really give everything to inspiring that next generation? Because I think that's really powerful.
I don't know. I don't know whether it's giving back, because I'll be honest, obviously I I think I had a good childhood, as much as I'm from like Illingworth, it's a bit of a rough area, but my childhood, I always had my mum running me up left, right and centre, taking me to whatever club I was going to. My coaches always looked after me, taking me all over the country. I've always had it, so I don't know whether it's me giving back. I don't know whether it's a case of we're seeing how frigging rough it is now, and I don't really want that to plateau and get any worse, you know what I mean? Because obviously nowadays it's getting quite dangerous. When we were kids, we were out on park till like 9:30, 10 o'clock at night playing footy, as in now kids can't do that. And I think a lot of it is it's a dangerous place, as in you get kids off the street into clubs and stuff like that, they're socialising, they're learning respect. Like, they're a lot nicer people to be around. For example, one of my little prodigies, Cole, I take him to football and all sorts of me. Not in a weird way, his dad's my best mate as well. But, like, I've been all over with Cole. We go to Wembley, go to football every week, stuff like that. Like, the kid's 12. Do you know what I mean? He's only trained with me for 2-3 years. He's 2 times British champion already. And like, just seeing the hard work he puts in. Cole's another one. He come and do scamming and steps every week with us. He does all extras, doing all runs. But that's not even just to highlight Cole, because all the kids at friggin' Bad Company are doing it. Whether it be Peyton, well, it's gone all the way through. Finley and Fergus, they had to do it all. As in now they're coming into the adult ranks, pros. They're seen as 2 at best pros in country. So it's easy to motivate them when you're seeing results out of it. You know what I mean? It's not really a job as such when you're seeing results and seeing how far they get to go.
Do you get as much out of seeing them win and seeing your team there winning than you probably do yourself?
It's a weird... do you know what? I get more nervous when they're fighting than when I'm fighting. It's a real weird situation, especially when you know how much work they've put in. I think with us, we know how much work we've put in. So it's on us. If we put the work in 9 times out of 10, not going to be as nervous. But when you see them putting the work in, you get nervous because you want it to go right for them. But yeah, it's a really weird one. It's so benefiting. It's like they've both got different rewards, but for different things. And then you're looking at them, it's a reward, seeing how hard they've worked. They can now go to school and frigging show off the title belts and stuff like that. As in, when we fight, it's a reward. Because I'll be honest, I like to satisfy my friends and stuff like that, and people who come and pay to come watch. Because I'll be honest, like, if I ever put a bad fight in, it kills me inside. Like, I like to entertain, so whether it be a win or a lose, as long as I've put in a good performance, I'm happy with that.
Yep.
As in, seeing with kids, it's a bit different, because if they lose, they think it's the end of the world. And it's trying to get them to understand it's not in the world, it's more about what you've put into it.
So interesting there. So I'm going to call a little bit of bullshit on you. That it's not just the kids who think it's the end of the world when I lost, is it? Because if we just get deep for a sec, we're going back 6 weeks.
Probably a bit longer,
A bit
wasn't it?
longer. I come to Manchester to watch you, and I reckon, let's just say that we're a Saturday night. I reckon Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, world had ended for you, hasn't it?
Yeah, but I think my biggest disappointment was I sold that many tickets, and to be honest, I was just horrendous from start to finish. If I would have gone out in that ring, give it my best, and been like, he still beat me, then fair play. I think I could have been a little bit more satisfied. Like, I've lost in past and stuff like that, and it's not been end of the world. I think for that one, for me, it was just like I'd put every ounce of work in. My mindset was right, I dieted right, my weight cut went well, everything went well, and just on the day, it were just a bad day for me. It was just like, I feel like I froze. I didn't have any nerves whatsoever going out, and it was just like, I think I performed that bad. I was upset because, well, you've seen how many tickets I sold. I did nearly 250 tickets. I've got all them people there who've paid hard-earned money, and I literally just fought horrendously. It wasn't even like I put in a good account for myself. Like I just stood there and essentially got beat up.
And I watched you walk out of the ring, and I watched your mum try to console you, and you were just oblivious to anyone try to console you. And I've noticed that about you, that when it gets, I'm not about mentally tough here, emotionally tough.
Yeah.
There's a want to run away, isn't there? Tell us about that.
It's a weird one, I don't know where it comes from. But if I've ever upset someone or let someone down or whatever, I think it's just comfier for me to get out of there. And it has happened in the past, and you know what I mean? I'm not going to hide away from that, and it is a bad trait of mine, and I need to work on that, which I am doing, to be fair. It's not as bad now, but like in the past, yeah, if something goes wrong, if I've upset someone, if I've let someone down, I think that is my biggest fear in the world, like letting people down. I hate letting people, if I've upset someone or all that, it kills me inside. So I think then for me, if I've let someone down, it's like, oh no, what am I going to do? I'll try and make it right, don't go right, and 9 times out of 10 I make it worse, then it's like, nah, I'm out of here, see you later. I want to move country and stuff like that, so.
And I've seen that firsthand, and it's something we've spoke about, and it's something I want to just talk to you a bit deeper about actually when we're at Sauna now. It's been quality this first half, it really has, because we have banter a lot with lads. I'm an ex-rugby lad, you're a fighter, we're used to that sort of banter, but just to talk a little bit more serious has actually been really good. We're going to go up there now, Sauna. We're going to see how you last, because I know that you've, as you said, you get a bit of PTSD going in them things. I
enjoy them saunas, me.
Because sometimes, how long do you spend in them? Before you've got to go or fight and cut weight?
I reckon the last one maybe did 4.5 hours stint.
So we're not going to do that
in and out, but yeah, not all at once.
Well, to put your mind at ease, we're going to go up there, we're going to have 15 minutes, we're going to delve deep. There's lots I want to unpick on you, Joe, that I think will be real beneficial to everyone listening today. And then we'll go and do your next favourite thing to weightlifting, which is ice bathing. Let's go get it.
I don't know why I've agreed to come on this.
We've done the pump, the sweat. Now we're going to go in the sauna. We're going to delve deeper. We found out a little bit about Joe. We're going to go find a lot more about him. As tradition goes, we're going to let Joe put the water on the stones. Joe, let's go.
Warm, that's all we're doing, warm.
As I always say, let's listen to the best noise.
There.
Lovely. And, as we always do, let's lock it in. Let's go. We're back in here. We're locked in. Joe, thanks for coming on. It's been great getting to know you a little bit better. We are going to now delve a little bit deeper. So, before we do that, I want you to just take me on a little bit of your journey. You know, when I looked into some of your stats, 4-year-old, you started Thai boxing. 2013, you became a pro. So just tell us, just give us a little bit of a time line of your journey into the world of Thai boxing.
Yeah, as you've said, 4-year-old, started training at a gym in Halifax called the Thai under Ricky Richardson, and I was there right up until 15. Had a great junior career, went all over, fought some good fighters and had lots of fighters as a junior. Then I turned professional at 15 and moved to a gym in Leeds called Bad Company. And then went strength to strength really. Obviously being like I was mentioned earlier, being surrounded by them sort of people. I think, to be honest, I maybe shot up the ranks probably maybe too quick. By 18 I was UK number 1. I had loads of momentum in my way, just beating everyone. And then at 20-year-old, I fought the guy who was the current WBC world champion, and he was probably the greatest middleweight Thai fighter that the world's ever seen for middleweights. A guy called Yusuf Buganem. It was the first time I lost my world title fight. It was the first time I'd ever been stopped. I got stopped in round 4. So it was just like, what is going on here? It was like linking back to what you were saying earlier about losing and stuff like that. That was a time where it was I put in a really, really good performance and lost. And I honestly thought, what is going on? Because I got stopped, so I was gutted about being stopped, and I just thought the world was falling apart. But looking back at it, it's probably now my favourite fight because I learnt so much about that fight. Whether skill-wise, just the timing and stuff like that, but also learnt a lot more about myself as well. Showing how far I can dig, to what levels I can go to, and plus it also showed me as well that I were unbeatable. So made me work a little bit harder. Carried on fighting, then got to 26. 26? No, 25 I was. And then that's when I won my ISKA world title. And here we are today.
So just take me through the world title fight first with Yusuf. And you said you learned a lot of lessons. Tell me how you can relate them back to your life now, and then lead us straight into that world title fight where you became world champion and what that feeling felt like.
Yeah, it was a weird one really. I was fighting away from home. I was fighting in Belgium. And I was fighting in an arena sold out. There were about 10,000 fans there. Like, I never even thought Thai boxing was that big. There were about 10,000 fans there. For his walkout, he had a full band playing him out, like proper dancers on it, you name it. And I was like, what is... It were really, really hostile. And I probably had maybe about 10 people there from UK who travelled over. And the rest of it was just all Yusuf, getting booed, all sorts. And after round one, I walked back to my corner, had a good round one, came back and went, yeah, I'm going to stop him. And they were like, no, you need to do it. I went, no, trust me, I'm going to stop him. Round two, I had a good round two. Then round three, started upping the pace a bit, broke my nose at the end of the round. But I still felt as if I was in control of the fight. He had a good round, but I felt like I was in control of the fight. Round four come. He must have landed maybe 9 elbows on trot. And referee tried stepping in to start counting. He pushed referee out of the way, carried on elbowing me, and ended up laying down from it. And then I got back up, made the count, and then he just barraged me and just onslaught me where I just couldn't recover, and the referee had to step in. Yeah, a weird one, but as well I learned he's the champion. You get away with them sort of tricks when you're the champion, you get that respect. So I learned not to give people too much respect in regards to fighting and stuff like that. Which also probably links back to his life, not to give everyone too much, because if you give people too much, it's like giving someone an inch to take a mile, you know what I mean? So learning all sorts of different stuff, but then I started working with a mind coach, started taking my nutrition right, taking my S&C right, and I think I developed a lot more from then, which then led on to my next world title fight when I fought that last one at London 02. Everything was right, I worked bang on for it, my training was bang on, my nutrition was bang on, my mind coach was very happy with me, and I just felt calm. Before the fight I felt calm, really calm, it was weird. Walked out and put me sleep in round two. Rest is history, yeah. So, good knockout as well, and obviously at London 02, it's a massive venue, and that's the sort of stuff I dream of when I was a kid, to be having them sort of fights in them sort of venues. So for it all to come together like that and to be able to end it in the fashion I did, yeah, we're buzzing.
And a few bits I want to pick up on here, because I think firstly we spoke about, well, let's just rewind a sec, what a phenomenal career it's been so far. And I think, massive credit, and anyone listening, just even about the highs and the lows, and I always like to summarise stuff, but the people out there who's can't relate to fighting at all, but maybe they've had been let go from a job. I know myself, I got let go from Leeds Rhinos, big hard time in my life, and then going back to Halifax, and now in the career I've got, the ebbs and flow of life. But there are a couple of things what I want to pick up on you with, and there's this. You clearly can articulate fighting very well. The way you speak about fighting, you're very articulate, you can go deep on it. But we spoke about earlier that when you upset someone, or when there's an emotional situation, and you can't understand why, but I probably can now when I've thought about it driving back here, it's the typical societal masculine male figure that it's much easier to run away from his problems than to fight them. And it's a little bit what your man Luke Dyson said last week. He's fought things way harder in his own internal mind than he has externally. People can see what we're fighting, the opponent we're fighting. We can't often see what we're fighting itself. See, you spoke about something there leading to your world title fight about, and the one that you won, that you were really calm going in. Obviously, I know that you were dealing with some out at ring, which were much deeper and darker, wasn't it? Yeah. Which might be a little bit harder to talk about. And we don't need to name names because it's keeping it private. But actually tell people out there, because there'll be a lot of men listening who now have got this picture of this guy who from 4-year-olds been an hard nut fighter, Thai boxer, but actually you were dealing with something really hard out at ring that could have had an impact. But years and years of conditioning yourself inside that ring, you managed to flick a switch. But actually, and I know the reason why you joined Run Tribe. I remember when you came down with Alex O'Keefe because you were still rattled with what were going on outside at ring, if you remember. So tell us a little bit about Joe outside ring and maybe how you were dealing with what else were going on. Because it wasn't just your breakup, were there? There were other stuff. Yeah.
So weirdly enough, just before that world title fight, about 4 months before, I'd had another fight as well. And mentally, that was probably the hardest fight I've ever had in my life. A month before, maybe 2 months before, I broke up with my bird at the time, my first ever bird. It was a long time relationship.
Cared about it, didn't you, deeply?
Yeah, massively. Made an error, hurt the girl, and I think that also links back to what we were saying before, like when I hurt someone or let someone down, I don't really know what to do, and that's when I panic. But yeah, ruined that. And then the following day after the breakup, I got home, my grandma got diagnosed with cancer, which, she's all right now, thank God, but at the time I'm like, what is going on? 2 weeks later after that, my grandma got rushed to hospital with this cancer, and she had the surgery and stuff like that, and it all went well. So yeah, still to this time, like, she's doing good. Then it's going to sound stupid, but I think 2 weeks after that, Leeds United got relegated, which to obviously a lot of people, but they'd be like, hang on a minute, Leeds United, and he's got all that going on. But like, I enjoy football. Like, football's my escape. I go home and away with Leeds and stuff like that. Like, I enjoy it. So to see your team get like relegated, you're thinking, oh my God, what else can go wrong? And then the day before that fight, my dog died. So we're like, what is going on?
Let's just jump in there just one sec, because it's quite easy to say people won't get it about the football team, but let's just break it down. First one is breakup. As you said there might have been a bit of an error on your behalf, which has led to a breakup of a girl that you truly loved and adored. Now you've got that going on. Then grandma, there's a lot of uncertainty there, which will put pressure on your mum and dad. And you know, you're, as a man, wanting to protect them and be around them. Then your football team, which is probably your escape. As a man, we all need escapes, and your escape, as I know from you, yeah, you like your running, you like something, you like going to football, you like going on a Saturday with your mates from bad company, gym, and you go there and you cheer your team on and they get relegated. And I know a lot of Leeds fans who are very passionate people, and this can relate to on. And then your best friend dies, you know, we call it as dog, but anyone who's got a dog, a close family dog, will know that when you lose your dog, it's like losing a member of family. So all 4 things now we're all rattling on, and I can only imagine you've now got your fight and you're thinking, surely the 5th thing I'm about to lose is this fight.
Yeah, it was one of them, obviously. That was the day of the weigh-in when I lost my dog. Got home, I remember getting home from my weigh-in food and just sobbing, absolutely sobbing. Then the fight day come. Bit of a weird one, but all the fights actually got stopped 2 fights before mine, so my warm-ups going on and stuff like that. And then one of the earlier fights had a really bad incident where his skull kind of like collapsed as such, and had to get rushed to hospital, and every single medic in the whole building were giving this guy treatment, rightfully so. But that meant then the whole show came to a stop. So then I'm like, well, what is going on here? Obviously just one thing going wrong after another. Then I came to fight, and I got dropped in the first round, which were obviously a bit of a nightmare. winning the fight comfortably, and then got dropped with a body shot, a knee. Then the second round come, again winning comfortably, got dropped right end of round again. So I remember being on that deck. It felt like longest count going. It was just like, are you really gonna let this beat you here? And it was like, it sounds weird, but I was fueling myself on the negative thoughts. Ended up getting up, and then I ended up stopping him round 3. I got a knockout in round 3. So that, to me, it was like end of a chapter then. That was like that chapter. I've had all the bad stuff now. Obviously, everything what's happened. Fresh start. And then that's when I started like really working on myself. That's when I started coming to Run Tribe, doing all my runs. I carried on that momentum from that fight, winning that fight, and really, really then started to like kick on. And then, obviously, still mentally, still working on myself, but I was working that much with my mind coach that I was getting past that and come towards my next fight, which was for world title at London 02. And like I say, I just felt calm. I knew I'd put the work in, and yeah, what happened. I landed a good left hook in round 2, and that's all she wrote. Game over. Won an ice skate world title.
I think what's really interesting on this is, because I want to make sure that everyone understands this at home, there's all this stuff going on, and then you still get knocked down a couple of times, but you get back up. And I'm really big advocate for getting back up no matter what. I say it to my kids on a day-to-day basis that no matter what life hits us with, we have to get back up. Even if we don't get back up, and in your terms, win, if we can get back up and make sure we can look ourselves in the mirror, that's all that matters. But I think what's interesting about yours is you go and win that world title fight. As an outside looking in, there's a photo still, I think it might be pinned at the top of your Instagram, of you with the belt, hands up, probably thousands of likes, people messaging you, probably one of the most things. But actually, behind all that elation is still a guy grieving, actually. And I think people need to understand this about the perception of social media. There's still this bloke, hard fighting bloke, because it were after that fight that he then come running with us. And I think what's really interesting is that for anyone listening who's going through a breakup of any kind, their fault or elsewhere, is that it's okay for it to take some time. And I think you'd be a good man to sort of articulate that and to sort of be a poster boy for that you can have all this great stuff going on social media, that you're out running with your mates or you're out fighting in gym, you've got a world title fight, everyone's showing you love that you're now world champion, but actually behind the scenes you're still battling with this stuff with your grandma, but more importantly this breakup that's still really bothering you.
Yeah, well, like you say, it did affect me. Obviously now I've got way past that, I've started to understand that, but like then obviously I think with it being a bit like a first love and that as well, it got me a little bit, but it's one of them, we make mistakes, we move on, but I'm a big believer everything does happen for a reason, and you always go on to bigger and better things after that, so yeah. But one thing I did find, what did help me throughout all the hard times and all that sort of stuff, training, whether it be out running with you or the week after I did my world title fight, we did a charity fundraiser. We climbed 24 mountains in 24 hours. Alex O'Keefe and that were all on it. We raised $3,500 for Overgate Hospice. Like, just putting my focus into that sort of stuff, doing good. 9 times out of 10, it always repairs you to do good. So I think I've learned that as I've got older, that the more good you do, the more it repairs you.
Love that.
Yeah, I'm dying in here.
Good, I'm glad you said you're dying, because people who watch these videos will see off my foot sweat drips. So if anyone's ever thinking that we're not at full bore here, which we are over 90 degrees and we've done 20 minutes here. So what we're going to do now is have a quick tap out before we round this up, because there's a little bit more to get in before we go getting them dreaded ice baths. Let's go. We're tapped out, but we're checking back in with our revived coffee. Love a plug. Joe, I just want to make sure for those listening that the reason why we brought up Joe's clearly over any breakups. I just want to get that in, and that's not because he said it.
Yeah, getting that over.
Yeah, we're going to get that, because you do, in any grieving process, there's got to be an acceptance. There's an anger. There's an anger section, there's a sad section, a lonely section, and then we have an acceptance, which Joe did. But the moral of that story is for anyone who's going through any type of grief, whether it's losing a job, whether it's maybe not seeing your kids right now, or whether it's you've lost something financially, is that you're going to be angry, you're going to be sad, and you might be seeing everything on social media, you might be posting stuff yourself, or you might be seeing other people on social media, but behind every good post, there's often other people still dealing with different things, even if you're a world champion Thai boxer, tough guy like Joe. Couple of bits I want to pick up on with Joe. Joe, to say you're a world champion, there's one bit I want to pick up on, and I want to know whether it's a mindset thing or what, but you hate a lot of things, right? And your way of, we're very different in the fact that I am someone who, in my head, if I set up on challenge, I always say I'd have to break a leg to stop, right? But I would not, I might tell someone, listen, I'm going to have to slow down a bit because of X. But you will vocalise exactly how you're feeling in that moment. We're not quite sure where that one cut out there because we had a mic technicality. 'Cause remember, we are in a sauna and shit gets hot in here. So just carry on from where you was, mate, and we'll just make it work.
Yeah,
Chill out and
Yeah, one of them. So, yeah, when stuff gets hard, for example, people who know me know I like to go hiking and stuff quite a lot. Yeah, my mate Buxy, Dobbin, we always let out a big whenever it's getting hard as we're climbing up frigging mountains. And it's one of them, like, as much as I'm one of them, I let people know if I'm struggling, I'm telling you about it. You're struggling listening to my frigging pain. But I get it done. And I think that a lot of it is just getting it done. Whether it be you tell someone, you keep it in, whatever, go get it done. Speak about it after, or speak about it during, still get it done. But yeah, I think the main thing for me is whenever I am struggling, physical exercise and getting out there, that's always my go-to, and it always sorts me out. So yeah, I think that's the main message. Whenever you are struggling, I think physical exercise is a massive factor to be able to recover from that.
yeah, and I think there's a key bit I want to get across here that I believe you should talk about life when you're struggling. What I'm talking about here is these physical challenges, and so not mental challenges where you're going through a breakup or something hard in your life, mental health problems. What I'm talking about is we're part of a group of people who all push each other to be better. And I get challenged with stuff all the time, and my challenge to Joe is developing that positive self-talk to actually, even if you hate someone getting an ice bath, no one likes getting an ice bath, but actually I love getting an ice bath, because if you tell yourself, and I told my daughter this today, I said, is this hard this morning, we were up this hill, she went, yeah, I said, is it as hard as you thought it were going to be, how we've told you it were going to be, because we tell her before this is going to be hard, she went, no, I said, well, keep telling yourself that. She turned round to me about a minute later, she said, have you seen the view, because we're running in pitch black and all Wheatley were lit up, and she said, have you seen the view, I said, that's the talk you need to have, because if you focus on that positive, the negatives that you feel in your body hopefully will disappear. But there's one more thing, Joe, before we get into our 3 random questions that we like to ask is the only other thing I've ever seen of Joe Craven, what I'd pick up as a development point, and I'm not here to rip you a bits today because you can give it me back just as much, is this ability, and I noticed that you said it earlier in your fight, that your biggest letdown, one that you didn't perform, but you didn't perform for everyone else, right? The other thing I've found in life is that if you constantly want to prove people wrong or prove people right, eventually when you've done that, what else is there to prove? So my thing to you is surely what you feel of yourself is far more important than what you think other people do or don't think of you, because there'll be a lot of young people listening, and I think we often forget that you're only 26. Yeah. You're still young. You're nearly a decade younger than some of the lads out running, and we've maybe come through that, 20 to 30s where you want everyone to like you. You just do, no matter what anyone says. People's opinion at that age do matter. When I set up Andy's Man Club, people saying nasty stuff about me, it bothered me, no matter how much I pretended it didn't. What do you think? Where do you think that comes from, and what do you think about the next steps needed to be able to say, do you know what Joe Craven thinks of Joe Craven is far more important than what them people have bought my tickets?
Yeah, I think a big part of what you've just said there is, and the reason why obviously, I don't want to let anyone down, is be all and end all. I'm an entertainer, you know what I mean? I'm in the entertainment business. I know obviously it's fighting and stuff like that, but people are paying hard-earned money to come watch me. Yeah, people invest a lot of money, a lot of time into me, and I'm always truly thankful. So I always feel as if I need to repay them. And I know that's a bit of a weird thing to look back on and stuff like that, but that's how I feel. But I also feel as well, which sometimes I do, this part does annoy me. All people think for me is a fighter, and that's my identity for people. Do you know what I mean? I think people forget, away from the fighting, I am deep down just a frigging normal lad who likes to have a frigging laugh. But because I've done this all my life and it's ingrained in me, which obviously is a big problem, a big fault of my own, that all people do know me as a fighter. If I ever go out, all people talk to me about is fighting.
Correct.
If I do X amount, all people talk to me about is fighting. This, that, and other, everything people talk to me about is fighting, and I think that's the only thing what's going on in my life. But away from that, I like to go hiking with lads. I like to go running with lads. I like to friggin' go to football, stuff like that. I don't even watch fighting. Do you know what I mean? That's not because I don't enjoy it.
No.
But I see it day in, day out. Like, I know more than fighting. There's like more to life than fighting, which is why I like my little escapes, going to football, stuff like that. So, like I say, I think a big problem of mine is the identity thing that all people do know me as is a fighter. But in another sense, it's not also a bad thing, because it's taken me all over the world, whether I'm teaching in America, all over the place, or fighting abroad, Thailand, Germany, you name it. I've seen all over the world, and I love travelling. So as much as it's a problem, it's also a big privilege. So you've got to take the good and you've got to take the bad.
And I love that, and I think it's understanding. We have this about knowing a room, that sometimes it might be Joe fighter, but to boys is Joe, the man that comes out running with the boys, and it's just knowing that you're never letting anyone down. This for anyone listening today, just because something doesn't quite go your way, don't put so much emphasis on what other people might or might not think here. Now, on that note, Joe, we're going to go ask our 3 questions of each other in the ice bath, because
because he's red hot, that's why.
Let's go.
Vamos.
Let us out. I'm not sure I've won one yet, so we're going to go round of 3. Rock, paper, scissors. Whoever loses.
Rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
Yeah. Whoever wins picks which one's they're going. So ready? Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. 1-0 me. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. 2-0. Joe, I am going to put you in there too, because I know how much you love this. So before we get going, usually we ask the 3 questions in there. Charlotte might jump in and ask some more questions. We're going to hit 3 minutes on the timer. Problem with this is it looks like when everyone gets in, 3 minutes. When everyone gets in, they make it look really easy, and it's not. So if you jump over there, Ollie, we're going to get going here. You ready?
So am I asking questions?
No, Joe's going to ask me.
Get that timer on quickly.
I'll ask him his first question, actually. Joe, first question, something I'm going to pick up on you sort of said is, I know you're not just a fighter, and I know to escape you like to go hiking. What is it about hiking that is really your escape? Because I think a lot of people can really take hiking up as a good escape.
Similar to your Aubrey said this morning, like, look at the views when you get up there. As hard as it is, think of how rewarding it is at the end. And for example, that time when we did the charity challenge, when we raised $3,000, like, mate, freaking hell, how buzzing it was to see all freaking staff's face and stuff like that. Even all lads' face once we'd achieved it. So yeah, things like that.
Joe's question.
My question, what's 3 people, dead or alive, past or present, who you can take to dinner with you?
Tough question. I'm going to have to say, I'm going to leave my kids out of it for now. I'm going to pick my Irish nana. She's, God bless her, she's died. She was an unbelievable soul. Very warm, very energetic, and I think very compassionate. So I'm going to choose my Irish nana. I'm going to choose Michael Jackson. There's a lot to ask him. There's a lot to talk to him about him. And I'd never say this one usually. This is really out there. I watched the Elvis documentary. And do you know what? It opened my eyes up to him, so I'd like to speak to Elvis. And I'm going to throw another one in is my dad's mum. My dad's told me lots of stories about her. She died before I were alive, and I'd like to unpick her and see what's up, because my dad had a real tough childhood, so that'd be interesting. Another question for Joe. What's the goal now post-fighting?
Post-fighting, it sounds typical, but I just say happiness. I want to live a comfortable life. I want to have a good, I'm currently in the process of launching a business. I want whatever business I'm doing to be doing well. I want to have a comfortable life, whether it be, I want to have a nice missus who's going to be comfortable, kids, you name it. So, yeah, I think just be living comfortably and happily. Right, one for you. What's the biggest setback, injury-wise, physically, that you've experienced, and how did you deal with that mentally?
Playing rugby, I tore my medial, got chopped front side, and weirdly, with injuries, it were always a good time for me because I always struggle with my weight. And every time I get injured, it were a really good time to just dial in training. So any time that I'm struggling mentally with something, like being on your own with that, really dialing in physically helps me. Final, is it second question for me? Yeah. What is your feel-good song?
I love my music. I
think today what I'll say is Bad Girls, Donna Summer. Track, mate. Bad Girls, yeah, tune. My last question, I'm going to say, what's a sign, what you do? What's your telltale sign when you need someone to help you?
Interesting. I think it's when I'm feeling a little bit. I clearly have ADHD. If anyone knows me, they'll know that I'm very busy-minded. I'm very. Charlotte will back that up. She's been with me a while now. She knows how busy I am. But when I get a little bit overwhelmed, I think what I need is space. And my missus is really good at letting me have that space to come down to the sauna and have some time in my own thoughts. As someone who works with people all the time, being in my own thoughts is a big one. And final one for you, Joe, because I'm getting really cold here. I feel like I'm going to black out. My last question is who is a role model to you and why? Or has been a role model?
I think both my parents have played a massive role. I tend to side a little bit more with my mum usually because my dad worked away when I was younger. So obviously we're providing for us in family and stuff like that, so I owe a lot to him. But my mum obviously brought up not only me but two other kids as well, both my sisters. She made sure I would get into all my clubs, driving me to and from all my clubs as well as working full time, and she went to uni as well. So my mum's a big driving factor in it for me. Now get me out of here.
4 minutes, let's go.
Oh my God, here, I swear to God, I would eat it. Fucking hell, fire. Yeah, I might. Yeah, I'm gonna do that. Oh my God. Fucking hell, I'm freezing. Oh, mate, yeah, I'm in a bad way here. Fucking hell. I've got to go back to work. Fucking hell, fire.
We have just done 4, maybe 5 minutes in the cold tubs and we're both feeling it now. But Joe, I just want to say you've been a phenomenal guest. And as I always ask my guests is how have you found it?
Yeah, cold, but I'll be honest. Yeah, it's been a good one. It's different. Like, I've done multiple podcasts and stuff in the past. Like, this has been a lot deeper, and I'll be honest with you, it's not at all what we're expecting, but I've really enjoyed it. And to be honest, I feel like I've developed from it as well, yeah, so it's been good to get a lot of stuff off my chest and, yeah, let people know what I actually am like.
Joe, it's been phenomenal. I think everyone will agree. You've been inspiring. You've given lots of people a good deep delve into the life of Joe Craven. So thanks for coming on Sweat Sauna Stories, mate.
Thanks for having me.